Vettel reveals who his toughest rival in Formula One has been. The GOAT debates in Formula One are generally done on social media, but Sebastian Vettel spoke in an interview about his hardest opponent and bidding farewell to the Formula One family. Sebastian Vettel, a four-time Formula One world champion, announced his retirement from the sport at the end of 2022 after 15 years in the industry. It highlights that Vettel has just 4 races remaining to compete in during the 2022 season. These events provide 4 more possibilities for Sebastian Vettel to drive a Formula One vehicle in a competitive setting. The legendary athlete will be making his last planned appearance at the track he has won 4 times. Vettel won his second Formula One World Championship in 2011 in Suzuka, and he said that the race was a little bit different from the others. However, now that the secret is out, Vettel has revealed who his hardest competitor in Formula One has been. Want to know everything about it? Aston Martin's Formula One driver and reigning world champion Sebastian Vettel has made a mind-blowing revelation. Sebastian Vettel, who drives for the Aston Martin Aramco cognizant Formula One TM team, has stated his plan to give up his racing helmet at the end of the 2022 racing season. It's safe to say that Vettel's career in motorsports has been a huge success. He holds the record for most Grand Prix victories with 53, and he has won 4 world championships for Formula One drivers. After 15 years in Formula One, he has worked with more exceptional people than anybody else. There are just too many people to thank individually. He has spent the last 2 years as a driver for the Aston Martin Aramco cognizant Formula One TM team. Their performances haven't been as excellent as they'd wanted, but it's obvious that the squad is putting everything in place to compete at the top level for many years to come. Collaborating with such a diverse group of people has been one of the joys of his career. He thinks highly of everyone on the team, from Lawrence, Lance, Martin and Mike, up through the administration and the engineers and the mechanics. All in all, he is working as hard as he can in the hopes that his efforts from the previous year and this one will help shape the squad into one that will eventually achieve success. Keeping that objective in mind from now until the end of the year, he will compete in his last races, providing as much of his best as he possibly can. Anyhow, the decision to retire was not an easy one for him to come to. Also, he invested a lot of time and energy into contemplating it as the year came to an end. In the wake of this season, Sebastian Vettel will retire from Formula One. Before that, however, the German revealed the identity of his toughest competitor from the top division. Over the course of his career, Sebastian Vettel has raced against many formidable competitors, including Lewis Hamilton, Michael Schumacher, Fernando Alonso, Max Verstappen, Nico Rosberg, and Jenson Button. He also faced other challenging colleagues over the years, such as Kimi Räikkönen, Charles Leclerc, Daniel Ricciardo, and Mark Webber. But when he was asked who his toughest rival was, the German said, "Lewis, especially when I was at Ferrari." It's no surprise that Lewis has consistently ranked first. As Vettel explains on the Aston Martin website, Lewis was always at the forefront, especially throughout his time with Ferrari. Before that, it was most likely Fernando Alonso while he was at Ferrari. Both Vettel and Hamilton made their debuts in 2007, and since then their careers have been closely connected, with the two of them winning 11 of the last 15 championships. Even though they had been competing against one another ever since they made their debuts on the track, it wasn't until 2017 and 2018 that the two actually competed for the title, with Hamilton and Mercedes ultimately emerging victorious over Vettel and Ferrari. The two had competed for the championship closely in 2010 and 2012 when Hamilton was with Red Bull at McLaren and Vettel, but at that time Vettel's primary rival throughout those 2 seasons was Alonso, whom he defeated twice in a spectacular manner. However, it's quite ironic that Alonso will be replaced in the place of Vettel at Aston Martin for the next season with Lance Stroll. As a result of this, Alonso will replace Vettel at Aston Martin. Vettel was asked whether he had any advice for the Spaniard. According to him, Fernando doesn't need advice. I'm not sure if he takes advice, but he doesn't need it anyway. He's been there for so long and seen so much, he'll make it. Even Hamilton had lately made some remarks about Vettel, in which he highlighted the two drivers' relationship. The respect between two people who have had a tough fight. It's hard to be friends when you're going head-to-head, and one of them doesn't win. He also said, The psychological warfare you go through is tough, but I'm really grateful that we got through this and we're such good friends. And I think it will continue to grow and we'll be even better friends in the future. We've had some great races in the past, and I'm so proud of him for how he's made his way, how he's opened up, and how open he's been and still is. I have no doubt that whatever he decides to do in the future, he will continue to do so. During his time, there were stretches of time throughout Vettel's F1 career in which he was unbeatable, the most renowned of which being the second half of the 2013 season, when he won the last 9 races of the season. But did Vettel ever find the dearth of competition from other teams and his consistent victories to be boring? He replied, "You do get used to it, but when you're not winning anymore, you think about how good it would feel to win again. When you do win again, it's a big moment and it means more to you than the previous win because of the emptiness in between." Furthermore, Vettel needs more time to figure out his future steps as a parent. There's no doubt in his mind that he needs to devote more time to his loved ones. So, today is not the day to say goodbye. Rather, it is an opportunity to express gratitude to everyone involved in Formula One, especially the fans whose passion and dedication keep the sport alive. As Executive Chairman Lawrence Stroll says, "From the bottom of my heart, Lawrence would like to extend his gratitude to Sebastian for the fantastic work that he has done for the Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant Formula One TM team over the course of the past year and a half." On the other hand, Mike Crack, the principal of the team, adds that Sebastian is an excellent driver because he is quick, knowledgeable and strategic. And while we will miss those aspects of him, they have all gained something from him, and the things they've learned from working with him will continue to aid our team even after he has left. Sebastian's contribution both from last year and this year is highly crucial to the Aston Martin Aramco Cognizant Formula One TM team, which is a terrific task with a lot of promise. But Sebastian Vettel said that his priorities have shifted from winning races and titles to seeing his children develop and teaching them his beliefs. However, they made it quite clear to him that they wanted him to continue working with them the next year, but in the end, he chose to do what he considers to be proper for himself and his family, and of course, they are willing to accept the choice. Vettel has done a fantastic job for Aston Martin in a number of races and showing his expertise and knowledge that have been of tremendous assistance to its engineers. Likewise, behind the scenes, he is widely considered to be one of the greatest Formula One drivers of all time. He will continue to compete for Aston Martin up until and including the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix in 2022, which will be his 300th entry into a Grand Prix, and they are going to provide him with a tremendous goodbye celebration at the end of his career. After all this, Vettel said he still has a deep passion for racing. It was a difficult decision for him to go into retirement, but F1 needs a great deal of dedication, and he's decided to focus on other things for the time being. No, the question that has to be answered is whether or not Vettel's long-term competitor will help Aston Martin achieve its objectives in the future years or not.